Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. If you're a fantasy movie fan or a Jim Henson fan like myself, today is an even greater day because Netflix just dropped a teaser trailer for and officially announced a new Dark Crystal series called The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. First of all, I'd like to say as a child of the 80s and an obsessive fantasy movie fan, the original Dark Crystal was a film that made a huge impact on me as a kid. In fact, both of Jim Henson's fantasy films, The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, were among my favorite movies as a kid and remain so to this day. So naturally, I'm pretty excited about this. This series will be a prequel to the original Dark Crystal movie, but it will be set in the same world as the original, and of course utilize the same creatures and races and fantasy elements that the original did. What we know about the plot so far is that it follows three Gelflings who discover the Skeksis are up to some heinous scheme, and so they must inspire their fellow Gelflings to start an age of resistance, and essentially save their race from the Skeksis and the power they get from the Dark Crystal. So basically the teaser is very minimal. It consists mainly of shots of Brian Froud's beautiful concept art. I'm not sure if the art is Brian Froud's original concept art for the Dark Crystal or if it's new drawings that he made for this project. I think a few of these drawings are definitely new. And there's a voiceover from the man himself, Jim Henson, basically talking about the project The Dark Crystal, his feelings about it, and how he considered it the most rewarding project he worked on. Although the VO may have been recorded before Labyrinth, I don't know. Then the trailer cuts to a few shots of what seems to be the Jim Henson Creature Shop creating creatures for this project, and they're doing it in the old school way. And I'm talking no CGI, or at least minimal CGI. They are really building these creatures like they did for the original. They are using puppetry, animatronics to create this series, which is awesome. And then finally at the end of the trailer we get one shot which indicates what the series will probably look like, and it looks almost exactly like the original. It almost seems like it's shot on the same quality of film as the original. It just has that same kind of 80s filmic look to me. And I believe this character is the scientist Skeksis. He's the guy who drains the life essence. So this is definitely an indication that the original Skeksis will be included in the show. So naturally the Mystics will also be included in the show because they are sort of counterparts. I don't want to spoil the original movie, it's only 30 years old, but the Skeksis and the Mystics are like two sides of the same coin. So there are definitely going to be Skeksis and Mystics in the show. I hope we see some Aughra, but there's no real indication of that yet. The original Dark Crystal makes reference to the fact that she's very old, so she could appear in this timeline. Maybe she'll be younger and look much better, although to be honest, I can't really see that. In the original film, they also make reference to a time when the Gelflings flourished, before the events of the Dark Crystal movie. And they say that the Gelfling had a great society, a flourishing society at this time, but they went to war with the Skeksis because there was a prophecy indicating that a Gelfling would destroy the Skeksis. So I expect this series will take place during that timeline, which I believe is hundreds of years before, meaning that Jen and Kira won't show up in this series. But I could be wrong, it could be just before the events of the Dark Crystal, and that would mean that Jen and Kira could appear as perhaps children. We'll have to wait for more details to be released. You may not have been following this, but there was a sequel to the Dark Crystal in development hell for a long time called The Power of the Dark Crystal, but it was ultimately scrapped. And I think this was for the best, because the directors, who were Michael and Peter Spierig, intended to utilize CGI and 3D animation for that project, and I would much rather see the story told in its original format, which was live action using puppetry and animatronics. I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, but in the early 90s, after the success of Jurassic Park, there was a big push in Hollywood toward using CGI animation over animatronics and puppetry. Although ironically, Spielberg did use animatronics in Jurassic Park. He was insightful enough to know that CGI couldn't quite do everything yet. But the effect Jurassic Park had on the industry resulted in decades of just shitty CGI in every other movie, and studios having the misguided notion that CGI can accomplish everything and has no limitations at all. Yes, CGI has greatly improved over the years, and there have been some great films that use it very well, but I think even in 2017, CGI can't do everything. There's a certain quality that movies that use animatronics and puppetry and practical effects have, like Labyrinth or The Dark Crystal, or even the original Star Wars trilogy. When you see the creatures they create and the effects they create, they have a tactile quality. Your brain registers, maybe unconsciously, that the creature or the effect is actually there in the space, interacting with the actor. CGI sometimes doesn't accomplish this. While it does look great when it's used correctly, misuse of it can create characters that just feel like they're not there, like they're ghosts. They don't have a physical presence to them, but creatures and other things created with puppetry and animatronics do. And I think some filmmakers and studios are starting to realize this because in the last 5 years there's been sort of a push to use more practical effects. In movies like Rogue One, where a lot of the aliens were animatronics or puppets, and they had a physical quality, and the actors could interact with them rather than feeling like they're not there. So in short, I'm a huge proponent of films going back to animatronics a little bit. The creatures and the animatronics and the puppetry in the original Dark Crystal are beautiful, they're works of art. So I can only hope it all comes together and it ends up being a nice companion to the original film. The series is produced by Netflix in great conjunction with the Jim Henson Company, so it seems like just the right team to keep Henson's legacy alive and do a great job with this. So I have high hopes, but I'd like to know what you think. Do you know any details about this project that I don't? Did I miss something? Did I get something wrong? Do you think this project will be good? Do you think it'll be bad? Did you like the original to begin with? Please let me know all these things and more in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more videos, including updates regarding this series as they come in and my review of the series when it finally comes out. Until next time.